I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. Right now, one company's dream floating high over Washington State. Boeing's Dreamliner 787 is set to land momentarily after taking off from Everett in Washington State. It's seen over 2 years of delay. Now some are calling this flight historic. Boeing says this plane is more environmentally friendlier, quieter, and could use 20% less fuel. Boeing also says that it will eventually cost you less to fly on this plane. The 787's mostly made of lightweight composite materials. Boeing says that will mean less wear and tear. The price tag, about $150 million each. It won't officially fly until 2011. CNN's Richard Quest, who covers aviation, is joining us now from London. We've heard from a lot of folks, Richard, this is really a big deal.
Absolutely, it's a big deal, Wolf. And, you know, we have to divorce two things here. The beauty of the plane and the magnificent way in which it took off and how it's flying, and the reality that Boeing now has to build this plane in sizable numbers because 850 or so have already been sold. That's going to be the large challenge. Can they take this new technology and so-called industrial ramp-up of production? That was the big mistake that Airbus made with the A380, the Super Jumbo. Oh, yes, they could build them in the ones and the twos, but when it came to sizable production, they simply couldn't do it. Now, Boeing is aware of this problem, but as we move to the next stage of development, Wolf, that is going to be potentially the costly issue. 800
plus planes that have already been sold. This is a huge moneymaker potentially for Boeing and for the U.S. Aviation industry, Richard, and it certainly puts them at a level, assuming everything works out well, at a level above Airbus.
Well, up to a point, as they say famously, up to a point, Wolf, up to a point. Airbus does have the A350, which is its rival to the Dreamliner. Now, the A350 hasn't even started to be built yet. It's not due to go into service for another 3 or 4 years, and that plane has sold 500 already. You see, it's a bit like leapfrogging. You have a new car, but your neighbor has a better new car that's newer with more technology. So you then have to get the next new car, and so it goes on. What we are seeing, of course, is very clearly Boeing and Airbus building these major projects, having great difficulty getting them off the ground, pardon the pun, but ultimately, if they get it right, well, then the rewards are vast.
To the passenger out there who will fly aboard the Dreamliner, what will be some of the differences he or she will feel?
I think that the fundamental difference, which has been explained to me, when you walk down that narrow little jetway and you see a little airline door, what they're trying to do is get rid of that. They want you to walk into the plane and have what they describe to me as this cathedral-like experience. In addition to that, the windows will be much larger and they will be at the proper height, not down there, so you can see the horizon. The air mechanism for changing the air in the plane is going to be much more sophisticated. You will get literally more oxygen. And of course, the whole environment will be designed to reduce the feeling of being cramped. And why do I say that? Because this plane is designed to fly medium to long haul, the replacement for the 767. It could go, for example, Sydney to Los Angeles. Certainly, it will go London, Paris to LA.
Yeah, that's a nice flight indeed. All right, stand by, Richard, because we're standing by to see this Dreamliner land in Washington State. We're told it's supposed to happen pretty soon. We'll have live coverage here in the Situation Room. By the way, we're seeing these pictures coming in from Boeing right now. I don't know if this is the Dreamliner we're seeing right now, but we'll soon find out fairly soon. And we are being told now by Boeing that this is the plane that is coming in to land in Washington State. It's a historic moment. Daryl Jenkins is here. He's a former visiting professor at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. As you see this plane. Richard Quest is still with us as well. Talk a little bit about the significance of what we're seeing, Professor Jenkins.
Well, this is the first flight of many that's going to take place over the next year now. They're going to have 6 of these up in the air for the next 12 months, going through all sorts of different tests. You see it's coming in now, and it's just coming in so nicely. These pilots are having the time of their life.
Based on the wings and the
yeah, look,
you can clearly tell this is the Dreamliner.
This is a beautiful plane.
Because those wings seem to be lifting up more than other airliners, is that right?
Yeah, there's a lot of flex in those wings.
And what does that say to you?
Well, I mean, this is a plane that has different aerodynamics than other planes. I mean, appreciate this. This is a different operating economic model than we've seen before. We're all very excited to see this coming down now, and it's going to probably have another 12 months ahead of it. Very stringent tests that you don't want to even be near that plane when it's flying.
Why were there so many setbacks? There's been about a 2-year delay.
Yeah, they've had all sorts of problems.
What have been the big issues?
Well, they had issues with suppliers getting them parts on time. They've had issues where they had their mechanics went out on strike. And then they had some design problems here just recently where the wing and the fuselage weren't meshing together correctly. So they've had nothing but problems on this for the last 2 years.
And are you confident that they've fixed all those problems? Here it comes. It's coming in right now, as you can see.
Well, that's what we're going to see through all the test flights, isn't it?
Richard Quest, the weigh in as you're watching these live pictures of this airliner making its final approach.
Yeah, look at this, Wolf. It's coming in over the threshold. Any second now, Captain Carrico will flare the nose up. About just as up it goes, and yeah, not even a crosswind much there because it came down on all main gear. The front gear is down, reverse thrust is engaged from those Trent 1000 engines from Rolls-Royce.
Well, I don't know if you
even though, and he's right on the center line. Look at that nose wheel as it goes down the center line of the runway at Boeing Field. The spoilers deployed to slow the aircraft down. Perfect landing, a beautiful landing. I think the professor might agree.
Now,
Yes,
what do you think,
indeed.
Professor? That would look like, at least to me, as a perfect landing,
Oh, no
even in a
kidding.
rain.
Yes, that was a beautiful landing. What an exciting moment for everybody out there and here watching that.
Is this plane going to be safer than other other commercial airlines?
All planes are created equal when it comes to safety. Think of it this way. This plane's going to go through 12 months of tests now, and they're going to do everything imaginable to it. When they build a plane, they build it and they figure out what's the worst conditions it's going to fly through, and then they have to build it so that it can fly through that worst condition plus another 50%. And they're going to go through all of the shear testing, all that redundancy.
Well, since fuel, supposedly, you'll be able to fly with 20% less fuel. Bottom line for passengers out there, will that mean 20% reduced fares from now on?
No way.
I guess
Good
that's
thinking.
too optimistic of a thought.
That's Boeing press. It's not the airline's press.
I guess it's still going to be expensive to fly, Richard. What do you think?
I think the fascinating bit's going to be how they are going to... I mean, can they get... One problem they still have got with this plane is it's too heavy. They've got to get the weight down, or frankly, Wolf, that 20% fuel advantage is going to go up in smoke out the back of the engines. At the moment, it's still on the heavy side to keep their promises. It's going to be a game changer. That's the word, that's the phrase. Airlines have got to have it, and that's why United Airlines just last week announced it was buying 25 of them and then hedged their bets and said they were buying 25 Airbus as well.
Well, we just saw the 787 Dreamliner land in Washington State near Seattle over there. A pretty landing, I must say, indeed. We'll watch this plane continue over the next year, go through the tests, and then I assume at one point all of us will be flying aboard a 787 Dreamliner. Thanks very much, Professor Jenkins. Richard
Pleasure.
Quest, always a pleasure as well.